Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to start forging out this sub-hilt fighter. I'm going to be using a piece of 5160 that I have laying around the shop here for the blade portion and everything. I have went ahead and cut a piece out here. This is just to make it easier to hang on to with the tongs. And I did go ahead and kind of pre-form the tip. This is a lot more steel than we're going to need. This is well over 1/4 of an inch thick, so we will not be using all of this by no means. But let's get this tossed into the forge and let's get to work. Alright, everything went well with the heat treat. I tempered this knife for 2 2-hour cycles at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And so now that we're done up with all of that, I cleaned up the flat so I could scribe the line on the edge here. And now I'm going to turn my attention to the harpoon point here. I'm going to go ahead and grind these in, and then I'll move over to finishing up the bevels. Alright, let's get after it. So here's where we are currently. I got the blade hand sanded and cleaned up. There's a few little scratches here and there I got to get out, but I'm going to turn my attention to here on the guards. I've got a couple of pieces of mild steel. I'm going to go over the grinder and square these up nice, get the flats cleaned up on them, and then we will be able to start slotting our pieces and move ahead. So that's the plan. Let's get to work. Alright, so I'm going to punch the starting points here on this pieces of guard so I can go over to the drill press and drill them. The way I figured this is I just found the central point of my piece of steel here and just laid the knife here, drew on either side of the tang portion, used my machining square, scribed the lines across, did that on both of them. So let's get those punched and get them drilled. So all of our parts are now slotted and fit up. I did end up having to put a piece of all thread here on the end because I screwed up when I was grinding the portion of the tang to thread. When I threaded it, I stripped a bunch of the threads off and ended up just scrapping that idea and went with some all thread. It would have been nicer to do it the other way, but that's how it goes sometimes. So all the pieces are ready. I did want to talk about a tool that I use on the handles. This is a handle broach. This is a Black Dragon Forge handle broach. You can buy these at Pop's Knife Supply. Jantz, knifemaking.com has them. They really come in handy. You can make your own. I've seen a lot of people do that. You can use a Sawzall blade even and grind it down about this width and just use the teeth on it. It works really good. I grabbed one of those because I didn't have the patience at the time to make one out of a Sawzall blade, but I've used this non-stop ever since I got it. In fact, I bought this one from back in the day from Alex Steel Co. when they still had their website and everything. So definitely a lifesaver. It's how I slot all these holes in these parts. So yeah, pick you up one of these, make yourself one of these. Definitely worth having in the shop. But with that being said, I'm going to start shaping all of this. I'm going to go ahead and just go do it. Probably not film it because it's just a bunch of grinding. I've just scribed the shape of the guard. And this is the upper one, and then once I get it ground, I will actually put it on top of this one and then shape it. And then I will be coming back, heating these up and bending it down to form this portion right here. So, like I said, I'm not going to film a lot of the grinding because I've filmed a bunch of grinding already, and at the end of the day, it's just a grinding, and that gets old. So, with that being said, I'm going to jump on there and get that done, and I'll see you in a minute when we start to shape these. Alright, I wanted to give you all a quick look at how these turned out. This is the upper and lower guard for the knife. They go like this. And so what I did with this is I don't have a torch or anything, so I had to use the forge to bend these. And so what I did was I took my wolf jaw tongs and I bit up on it like this, and then held it, of course, in the forge. It was straight at that point, obviously, and I heated up just the end portion, and then I took my scrolling tongs here and began to scroll it. I ultimately ended up having to shape it around that cone. The reason being is the horn on my anvil is nowhere near round on top. It's pretty flat because it's actually a farrier's anvil, so I used that cone there to shape it. And so what I did was I shaped the upper guard first, and once I kind of got it figured out and got the curve of it that I was happy with, I then turned my attention to the lower one, and then just went and just kind of mirrored that shape the best I could to kind of keep it even. I shaped the lower one the exact same way as the upper one, holding it with the tongs, taking it over to the cone, and using the scrolling tongs on it as well. It was a lot of trial and error. Heat it up, bend it, dunk it in the water because this is mild steel. Get it cooled down, fit it up, and look at it, and then see where I needed to make changes, and then make those changes. The reason I didn't film it was because it was a nightmare to do it, and I like to show you how to do things here on the channel and try my best to show you the right way to do things, and that the way that I did it worked, but I'm sure there's better ways out there. But yeah, so that's what I did to get these shaped, and with those being finished, I'm going to clean them up and I'm going to super blue them, and I'm also going to blue the pommel, and then we'll paint it over after it's all glued up. So it's time for me to take these, get them put on the blade, glue it up, and I'll catch you in a minute with the finished knife.